My cousin offered to help with my wedding planning. Instead, she used my budget to fund her own secret ceremony 2 weeks earlier. When I found out, she said, "You always followed me. You can follow this too." I walked away from her venue, then showed her guests the invoices, messages, and vendor contracts all filed under my name. That I was never the center of attention in our family. That was always Rachel, my cousin, 3 years older than me, loud in every room, polished since we were kids. She wore makeup before I was allowed to, drove a nicer car, had more expensive clothes. I was always the sweet one, the one who helped clean up, who followed along. I never complained. She was family. When Darren proposed to me in June of last year, I felt like my life was finally my own. I was 35, had built a career I was proud of, and I'd found someone who actually listened to me, respected me. We were excited, but cautious. We'd saved for years. We weren't rich. We set our wedding budget at $25,000 total. That had to cover everything: venue, food, dress, flowers, music, everything. We live in Sacramento. It's not cheap, but it's home. I started looking at venues right away. That's when Rachel stepped in. She called one night and said, "Hey, I can help with all of this. You've got enough on your plate. You're working, you're planning a wedding. Let me take some stress off." At first, I said no, but she kept asking. She said she had ins with local vendors, that she could get better prices through people she knew. Eventually, I gave in. I figured, why not? She planned her 30th birthday party at this rooftop downtown, and it looked like a damn Pinterest board. She took over fast. She set up meetings with caterers and florists, then told me not to come. "I'll send you the notes," she said. She told me what was locked in, even when I hadn't seen anything. Every time I asked to confirm details, she said things like, "Trust me, this is what I do, and you'll love it. Wait till you see." Then she told me she'd handle payments too. "It's easier if it's all going through one person," she said. "I'll keep track of everything. I'll forward you the receipts." I wanted to believe her. She was family. My whole life, I've been the one who tries to keep peace. Even when something fell off, I kept quiet. The first red flag came when I asked about the deposit for the venue. She said she took care of it. I asked for the confirmation email. She said the venue doesn't send them, that she had it handled. I let it go. Weeks went by, then months. I was working long hours during our winter peak season. Rachel kept saying things were moving forward. She'd send me a photo of some flower arrangements or a table layout and say, "This is what we're going with." By March, I was getting nervous. The wedding was supposed to be April 20th. I still didn't have a full vendor list. No final schedule. I called the florist she mentioned once in passing. I just wanted to confirm our appointment. The receptionist said, "Oh, we did the Palmer wedding on April 6th. Palmer. That's Rachel's last name. I thought maybe she was doing someone else's event, but when I asked for details, the woman said, "Yeah, she paid through an account under my name." Gorgeous event, by the way. That vineyard in Folsom. Stunning backdrop. I felt sick. I called the venue. Same story. They had hosted Rachel Palmer's wedding on April 6th. The contract was in my name. The payments matched the exact amounts I'd wired to Rachel's account. I called the DJ, the caterer, the photographer. Every single one had done her wedding using the vendor list and funds I thought were for mine. I didn't confront her right away. I needed to see it for myself. I drove to her house that night. She opened the door in a silk robe, glass of wine in hand. Her new husband, Trey, was sitting on the couch watching a movie. She didn't even flinch when I said I knew. She sipped her wine and said, "You always followed me. You can follow this too." Like it was funny. Like I was just being dramatic. Like stealing my wedding wasn't a big deal. I walked out without saying a word. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. But I spent the next 48 hours collecting everything. Every invoice. Every email. Every text. I made copies, printed them, and organized them by vendor and date. I wasn't going to let this go. 2 days later, Rachel hosted a post-wedding brunch at her new in-laws country club. I wasn't invited, but I showed up anyway. She looked shocked when she saw me walk in, but she tried to play it cool. "Didn't think you'd make it," she said, fake smile plastered on. I didn't respond. I walked to the front of the room. I asked for a minute of people's time. Then I passed around a folder of documents. "Everything you see here," I said, "was booked under my name, paid with my money, and meant for my wedding." Rachel took it and made it her own. I watched people flip through page after page, contract headers with my name, emails confirming dates, bank records. I didn't yell. I didn't have to. The silence in that room? It was loud. Rachel's new husband stood up and asked, "Is this real?" She didn't answer. And that was just the beginning. After that brunch, my phone didn't stop buzzing for 2 days. Some of Rachel's friends messaged me, saying they had no idea what she'd done. A few apologized for celebrating with her. Others tried to stay neutral. "Family stuff is complicated," one of them wrote. But the damage was already out in the open. Her new in-laws were furious. They had put money down on their end for the brunch and rehearsal dinner, thinking Rachel and Trey had paid for everything else. Trey's mom called me and said, "I'm so sorry. I would never have let this happen if I'd known." Rachel didn't contact me. Not once. It was like she thought if she ignored me long enough, it would blow over. But I wasn't done. I had used a joint account with Darren to transfer funds to Rachel. At least $18,000 of the $25,000 had gone to her directly, and I had the records. I filed a police report. Fraud, misrepresentation, theft. I knew it would take time, and maybe the legal side wouldn't lead to jail, but I needed it on paper. I also reached out to the vendors. Some were stunned. A few were sympathetic. One of them, the caterer, offered to refund part of the money. The photographer said he'd rebook us at a major discount. The venue owner, a woman named Lisa, told me flat out, "You've got a lawsuit here." Darren and I decided to postpone the wedding. There was no money left for a new date, and the emotional fallout was too raw. I was embarrassed, ashamed. I had let someone steal the one moment I was finally supposed to have for myself. Meanwhile, Rachel started spinning her own story. She told our family that I offered her the vendors because I wasn't ready to get married, that I was falling apart, and she just stepped in to avoid wasting it all. Some people believed her. My aunt, her mom, called me and said, "This is between the two of you. Don't make the whole family choose sides." That hurt more than I expected. But Rachel didn't stop there. She posted her wedding photos all over social media. She tagged vendors. She even used the captions I had written for my own planning folder, the same themes, color palette, floral choices. It was like watching her wear my skin. One night in May, I got a call from a local wedding blog. The writer said she'd been pitched Rachel's wedding by a PR rep and asked if she could use the vendor photos and quotes. She found my contact info listed in one of the contracts and thought I might be the planner. I told her the truth. Every bit of it. She was stunned. 2 weeks later, the blog published a story, but it wasn't about Rachel's wedding. It was titled, "How One Woman's Dream Wedding Was Stolen," by her own cousin. They blurred names, but people figured it out. Rachel called me that night, screaming, cursing, "How dare you drag me through the mud?" I didn't yell back. I just said, "You did this to yourself." After that, she blocked me. But the damage kept spreading. Trey? He started asking questions. About the money. About her lies. About what else she'd kept from him. Turns out, Rachel had told him her parents paid for everything. When he found out the truth, saw the same invoices I showed at the brunch, he packed a bag and left. Their marriage barely lasted 8 weeks. And then, something unexpected happened. I got a letter from Rachel's old roommate from college. She'd seen the story and reached out. What she told me changed everything and made me realize Rachel's betrayal wasn't new. It went back years. The letter from Rachel's old roommate, her name was Mia, arrived like a crack in the dam. Mia said she saw the wedding blog story through a friend who still lived in Sacramento. She recognized the details instantly and said, "I knew it had to be Rachel." She told me they lived together for a year during college at UC Davis, and Rachel had pulled something similar, only back then, it was smaller scale. She said Rachel stole from her. Not cash, but identity stuff, ordering clothes in Mia's name, setting up credit accounts, even giving out Mia's info to get into events and memberships. "She's a chameleon," Mia wrote. "She becomes whoever people want her to be. Until she doesn't need you anymore." She said she never went to the police because she didn't have the energy to fight it while trying to finish school. But reading my story made her feel sick. Mia gave me one more piece I didn't expect. Rachel had done the same, let me help, trick with another cousin in 2019, offering to help plan her engagement party, only to cancel everything last minute and claim everyone flaked. That cousin ended up thinking the vendors just bailed. She never knew Rachel pocketed the deposit refunds. That's when I realized this wasn't about a single betrayal. Rachel had a pattern. She liked playing the hero so she could control everything. And when she wanted something, she didn't ask, she took. I started putting everything together in a document. Timeline, messages, payments, names of vendors, Rachel's social media lies, Mia's letter, the 2019 cousin's name. Even texts Rachel had sent me over the years that showed how she manipulated people, twisting truths, rewriting what really happened. Then came another twist. Darren's parents, quiet people, private, asked us to dinner. I thought maybe it was just to check in. But they had news. Apparently, Rachel had approached them before the wedding chaos, told them I was struggling emotionally and spiraling from stress. She claimed I was thinking of canceling the wedding and said, "It might help if you gave the money to me directly. I can keep things moving." And they did. They gave her $5,000 in a cashier's check. They didn't tell me because they thought it was helping. They trusted her like I did. When they found out what happened, they were devastated. Darren's mom cried right there at the table. "We thought we were doing the right thing," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry." So that brought the total amount Rachel had stolen up to over $30,000. And I was done pretending this could just be a family issue. I was going to sue her. But before I filed, I got a letter from Rachel's lawyer. It said that I was harassing her, that my public defamation had caused emotional distress and potential loss of employment, that if I didn't remove my online statements, they would pursue legal action, except I never posted anything public. Rachel didn't know the blog had contacted me. She assumed I gave them a full interview, which I hadn't. Still, the letter was a warning. She was scared now, which meant the pressure was working. What she didn't know yet was that I'd already contacted an attorney of my own, and my attorney found something in Rachel's paperwork that would make this whole thing spiral faster than she ever expected. My lawyer, Jennifer, was calm and methodical. She didn't overpromise anything. She looked at the documents, the payment records, Mia's letter, the wedding blog, even the threatening letter from Rachel's lawyer. Then she found the one thing that sealed it all. In the vendor contracts, especially the venue and caterer, Rachel had forged my digital signature. Not just once. On multiple forms. Jennifer compared the actual signed documents I had on file from before Rachel took over with the ones used for the April 6th wedding. The difference was clear. It wasn't even a good copy. She had signed my name in her own handwriting. That was enough for a fraud case. Jennifer filed a civil suit on my behalf. Theft, fraud, breach of fiduciary trust, and identity misrepresentation. It was a clean, brutal filing. We also handed over the evidence to local law enforcement, because once the amount stolen passed $30,000 and included forged documents, it crossed into felony territory. Rachel was served at her temp job at a boutique law office. It was humiliating. She had lied to them too, told them she was from a wealthy family, that she was engaged to a tech executive, and that she had planned 3 weddings. She was let go within the week. The civil case moved forward. She had no real defense. She tried to say I consented to her using the money, but the forged signatures killed that argument. Her texts and emails to vendors saying use my cousin's name for this didn't help either. She tried to settle, offered $10,000 in a written apology. I refused. The court ordered a repayment of the full $32,418 plus damages. She didn't have it. Her parents covered some. The rest is now garnished from her wages. But that wasn't the part that felt like justice. What mattered most was what came after. Her husband, Trey, filed for annulment, told the court he'd been manipulated and misled, walked away and never looked back. Her reputation in Sacramento was destroyed. The vendors blacklisted her. The blog ran a follow-up. When helping isn't helping, a cautionary tale from the wedding industry. They used her real name this time. Public record made that legal. I didn't stop there. I sent a full report of Rachel's past behavior, including the 2019 theft and Mia's story, to the ethics board of a local event planning association she was trying to join. She was denied permanently. And her family? Some still won't speak to me. But a few quietly reached out and said, "We were wrong." One of her younger cousins sent me a note. "You gave the rest of us permission to stop pretending." As for Darren and me, we waited 6 months, saved again, and held a small wedding in Mendocino. Just close friends. No flowers. No planner. No bullshit. Just us. It wasn't the wedding I dreamed of, but it was real. It was mine. I walked down the aisle knowing I hadn't just lost a cousin. I'd pulled the mask off a thief. and I made damn sure she couldn't wear it again.